Good morning, everyone. It is a foggy winter day, and I feel as if I haven't seen the sun in months. But the ice is quickly melting, the rivers are rising, and that means only one thing. Spring is coming. Soon there will be salmon swimming the frigid waters, and the first little buds will peek out through the frosty ground. While this time of year is often muddy and rather dull, it promises something so beautiful that I cannot help but be filled with excitement. In this video, I wanted to share a little bit of my story as a business owner, because my hope is that you may find it encouraging and comforting, though not in the way you may think. There's so much online in regards to being self-employed or doing side hustles, romanticizing all of it, with a lot of emphasis on finding creative ways to make money, juggling a bunch of responsibilities, expanding and finding greater and greater success each year. And I'm sure these opportunities and mindsets work for a lot of people, and it's great. But for me, I've had a bit of a different experience, and so I thought I'd share. For those of you who don't know, I juggle several different types of jobs. After working in retail and childcare, I started my own art business and became a videographer, seeking to encapsulate what I loved about the nature around my home and creating short films about finding moments of beauty in the midst of a busy and at times complicated life. I wanted to learn how to slow down, to live intentionally, and recover fully from years of mistreating my body and mind. Doing this was an incredible experience. I loved working with my camera, creating art, and finding how to film ordinary, mundane moments in a way that was reverent and beautiful, to encourage others to look closely at the little things and find meaning in daily life. Slowly, my business began to grow, and initially it was so exciting. There was so much I wanted to do and to try. Over the course of a couple years, I got to rent a studio space where I could dedicate my time to making art and editing, and I invested into improving my videos as much as possible. Everything was going so right, and I was being told by other business owners I needed to do so much more. I needed to hire staff. I needed to do multiple sponsorships in each video. I had to stop selling niche art and instead focus on doing something much more profitable. Coming out with my own line of commercial products, perhaps. I should partner with multiple brands, even though that also meant letting go of my initial vision of who I wanted to be as a business owner. There was so much focus on a type of consumerism I didn't even naturally partake in, but so many were telling me that this was the way to go. All these pressures became overwhelming, and I suddenly came to the realization that I'd given up a traditional job of 40 hours a week in exchange for a 24/7 work schedule that never ended. I was so overwhelmed. It was then that I discovered that if I spend enough time in a state of stress, it manifests physically. I got sick. I started getting terrible digestive issues. I started having panic attacks and broke out in hives and developed debilitating back pain. My body was holding on to all of these emotions I wasn't ready to face, and it was slowly sucking my life away. In retrospect, my body was desperately asking me to stop and listen, but I refused because it scared me too much. I wanted to share this to encourage you to know beforehand exactly what it is you truly value and make sure your moral beliefs align with your actions as you make any sort of lifestyle change. I'm grateful that I started this journey with that very thing in mind, because when I started feeling ill, I immediately knew I had reached a crossroads where I either had to continue staying true to myself or I had to become something I never wanted to be. I went to other business owners for advice, and all of them told me the same thing. If I wanted to be truly successful, to do more, I had to expand and become not one person, but a true company. And right there, I knew this wasn't going to work for me. And that led me to another big question. Why is it that we're always talking about doing more with our time, making more money? Why is it never learning to do enough with the time we have, or simply making enough money, just enough to live humbly, simply, and comfortably? These questions, as you may suspect, sent me down a very different path in life.
My actual personal desires in my life are very simple. I don't feel the need to travel the world. I don't need to go on expensive vacations. I don't need to fill my house with all these things. And if you have goals different from mine, I encourage you to pursue them. I'm just sharing that for me personally, I find that I'm increasingly happy to just exist. I love to walk my dog, snuggle my cat, play with my bunnies, spend just quiet evenings at home. These things are enough. I don't need more. Call me boring. Many people in my life have multiple times, but my interior life, my spiritual center, but also just who I am, my imagination, all the things I really love, these things make me whole. They make me feel full. And every year I feel like there's less and less externally that I need. I'm happy just having my basic needs met. Of course, I don't want to be worrying about how to meet those needs. I really love art. I love crafting. I love books. I can continue to enjoy them in a very humble, very frugal way. This is who I happen to be. We're all different again, but I just realized I was letting myself be convinced by all these other people that I felt like knew so much more than me and had so much more experience that I needed to do more, to make more, to be more. And no one ever said, why don't you just be enough? Why can't you just be enough? Why can't you just succeed enough and make enough to live simply? And that is something I had to discover on my own. So with this in mind, I made some of the worst business decisions I could have made. Obviously, I didn't blow up my business. I didn't blow up my life in any way. I mean, I can't do that. I have very real obligations. I have a family that relies on me. I have bills to pay. We are all in a cost of living crisis. I just bought a jar of nut butter for like $14 and it was like pretty much the cheapest I could find. There's only like one actual big grocery store in my entire area. I let go of my rented workspace and I moved all my Etsy and work supplies into a little corner of my home. I did not hire any new employees. And yes, it does feel cramped. And yes, while I was doing it, I felt like, oh my goodness, I'm failing. I am not doing what I'm supposed to be doing with my business according to so many experts. I had to start drastically limiting the amount of Etsy orders I took every week. Growing a baby takes a lot of work and it is very tiring, and I had to respect that as well. And I know I will have to pull back on things probably even more once our little boy is here. I also let go of the pressure to upload videos on a strict schedule, or any schedule, really. I've just been doing what I can while still being respectful of my health, mental health, and everything in between. I realized I had to find some way to do it in a more sustainable fashion that gave me time to just breathe a little bit, to not be up at night worrying that I can't get all these things done. Some people gave me the advice to work smarter, not harder. And that involved outsourcing a lot of the things that I used to do on my own to other people and to employees, and to have like this company. And that was just not me. It's just not me. And in reality, it was just increasingly scary and overwhelming. And obviously, I didn't do any of those things. If I wanted to reel things back in, there are so many people that know so much more than me that have made me realize how terrible these business decisions were. But there's a reason I'm sharing them, and it's because I just want to encourage all of you to really understand what it is you value in your life. You may be someone that deeply values their health. You may not even know that you deeply value your health, and it may not be until you lose it that you realize how important that was to you. So really question yourself and know ahead of time when you're making huge changes what it is you value, what it is you're not willing to give up, and if you are willing to deal with the cost of certain changes. And of course, with all the decisions I made over the last couple years, there were consequences. They were huge consequences. Naturally, views have gone down. My income has drastically gone down. A lot of big businesses and influencers seeking to collaborate aren't as interested as they once were. I knew I was making bad decisions for my business, but I was making the right ones for me. I think it is really easy to get those things confused. I really needed to listen to what it is that I needed in order to live a fulfilled life. Not a life with more things, just a life with enough things. Making these decisions just didn't align with me. I am Paola, the cottage fairy. It started like that, and honestly, I want it to end like that too. Now my work days look quite different. I just spend some time packaging art for my Etsy customers. I do recordings and fun little videos for my Patreon, and I make videos here when I can. And it has brought back so much more creativity and love and excitement in my life. I have come to realize truly over the last few years just how much of a sensitive human I am. When there's a lot of pressures on me and a lot of responsibilities, it really gets to me, and I just cannot do it over the long term. If I get too much stress in my body and I don't stop to deal with it, I get sick. My physical self will never lie to me. It will always make it very clear where I am. I could go to 100 business coaches on how to utilize techniques to deal with pressure better, but at the end of the day, it's just not something that comes naturally to me. I work hard, I put in a big work week, and I do all these things I truly need to do to survive. But when it came to adding on all these extra things just because, I started realizing it just wasn't in alignment. Beliefs versus actions, and honestly, I think that's one of the most difficult places to be as a human, when those things are not aligning. It can cause a big problem within. I spent a lot of my life associating being a highly sensitive person with not being strong, with being weak, with being fragile. I made a lot of self-derogatory jokes around coworkers and things of being that sort of person because a part of me really believed it. I felt like I just wasn't able to toughen up and deal with life in the way that so many other people seemed to be able to. And I don't think that is true anymore. I believe it was quite narrow-minded of me to not be open to the diversity of human personalities. I think we're all different for a reason. We can all handle different things in different ways, and someone can seem to have it all together, and you have no idea what's happening behind the surface. And I think we can all thrive within our personal limits as long as we recognize what it is we need. I did want to make this video just to encourage all of you to stay true to what it is you truly value, and that could be very different. You could be very influenced by society or by what other people are telling you that you should be or what you should do. Really make sure you take time to get to know yourself and know what it is that you also need. I have responsibilities. I have people relying on me. I have a family. I have a child coming. I need to make good decisions, you know, but I also have come to realize that those decisions can't destroy your health either and destroy your peace of mind, because then you won't be able to be the person that the people around you need you to be. You won't be able to offer them the support that they truly need if they respect and value you. And if you have people in your life that truly value you, they will want you to make those decisions for yourself. And that brings me to the future. We certainly will be moving into more frugal times ahead naturally. We have a lot of bills to pay that are related to our just normal survival. And so we both need to continue working hard, but I think we can do that a lot more mindfully and intentionally, and making sure we aren't trading anything truly priceless for the sake of just feeling a little more secure. We will be living as frugally as we can, as within our means as we can. We will be downsizing. We will be simplifying. We will be raising our child to value those same things as we face the future together as a team. And I don't know what the future holds. And frankly, I am terrified. I'm absolutely terrified, because I know that I will be taking even more time away once our baby's born. And all these things scare me so much. And yet, I've come to realize, I think personally, that is where an element of faith comes in. I know there are people that will laugh at me for saying that. You can't expect to have control over everything in your life, and you certainly can't expect to control the future. You can face it with fear and worry and let that fear and worry cost you. We can only do our best while respecting our health and peace. And beyond that, we do need to have some element of believing. For me, my spirituality is a source of faith and belief, but if you don't happen to be someone who is spiritual in that way, believe at least in your ability to figure things out. And you know you've made it this far, you will be able to make it farther. Being mindful about your decisions and intentional, and knowing that you need to make mistakes to figure things out. I have possibly made some of the biggest mistakes of my life recently. Maybe in retrospect, I will look back on my decision and think, my goodness, she made so many mistakes. She really should have kept doing all these things. She should have expanded. She should have been more competitive. She should have done more. And while I doubt I will feel that way, even if I did, what I will take comfort in is knowing I'm doing the best I can at this time and making the best decisions I can at this time. Don't trade anything that truly costs you for something that perhaps you don't need as much as you think you do. And if you are in a desperate situation where you do need to just focus on survival and nothing else, not even your health at this time, I feel for you. I hope that if the opportunity does come to put a little bit more value in your health and your inner peace, that you can be brave enough to take that. Because I know, as someone who has recovered from being a huge workaholic, it can be really hard once you get the opportunity to slow down to actually do it, because you get in the habit of always being in this scarcity mindset and feeling like nothing is enough. And nothing will be enough. If we get the opportunity to slow down, will we actually take it if our entire life and identity is built around doing more, succeeding more, creating more? That's a hard habit to break. To be honest, I'm not quite sure what I'm saying in this video, but I just wanted to share a little bit of an update. Life right now is changing. Everything is changing. I am changing. And I think that is a wonderful and important thing. and I hope you are open to your own growth as well in whatever path it leads you. I will continue making videos here. I think at some points I will have more for a while than less, and then definitely when baby comes, I will be gone for a bit. But I don't know what the future holds, but I do know I am going to meet it with gentleness towards myself, and I'm going to have faith that I will be able to figure things out as I go. Perhaps this deeply de-glamorized any ideas you had about being self-employed or working on your own terms or living on your own terms, but I hope you know this is just my situation. I truly believe other people that say that they love hustle culture and they love doing all these things and it invigorates them to do more and to be focused on efficiency and being productive 24/7. And I think that's why it's important to not compare. For so long I was telling myself I wasn't worthy of the things I did have unless I was kind of selling my soul in order to have them. I just felt like I wasn't worthy. I felt like I didn't deserve to have a roof over my head unless I was selling my life every minute of the day in order to feel like I deserved that. And I think that partly comes from having so many people in my family and close people having struggled so deeply to get out of poverty. And I think really internalizing that idea that I can't enjoy things unless I feel like I am suffering for them and losing my health over them. That is a very strange idea, but I think some of you will be able to relate. It's something strangely internalized, I think. This week, of course, I will be taking some limited orders again on my Etsy shop. I will be doing a fun live stream for Patreon. I will be trying to squeeze in some time to work on my art and to work on some new videos at a much slower pace, at a much more intentional pace, but hopefully more than ever at an authentic pace. Early motherhood has had a very good impact on me. It has put a lot of things into perspective. It has made me question a lot of things about my health and my pace of living, and I love that. I'm already so deeply grateful to my own child for helping me along that path. Again, just my experiences and my perspectives. I'm not speaking for anyone else but who I am. And I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.